everybody. You're listening to the Big Chill Podcast. This is episode 603, 4th of July weekend. Hello, Big Chillians, and welcome back to the Big Chill Podcast. I'm Frank, joined with Eddie. Eddie, how's it going?
Yeah, things are going well. Happy 4th of July to you and to all of our American listeners out there.
Oh, thank you. Are you going to be celebrating the 4th of July? I know you are a big pro-America guy over here.
Well, I don't think I'm despite my reputation, I don't think I'm an anti-America guy. But no, I will not be celebrating. In years past, have done, tried to had some 4th of July themed food, but not this year.
What are those, hot dogs?
Pretty much hot dogs, hamburgers. But speaking of the 4th of July, I thought I would turn the tables on you slightly. Usually it's you quizzing me on various topics. I thought I would test your Americanness with a quick fire 4th of July themed quiz.
Oh, I had an American quiz for you as well. So I have to double up after this.
Yeah, you can see. Hopefully they're not exactly the same questions.
This is the beauty of pre-planning our podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Tune.
So I'll start you off with an easy one, but might be a little bit more of a challenge for some of our listeners from around the world. But how many stars were there on the first American flag?
I'm going to go with the easy... I think should be the easy answer, but it could be a trick question. I'm going to go with 13.
You are correct. 13 stars, 13 stripes.
13 colonies.
To represent the original 13 colonies.
Do I have to name the colonies now?
No, I don't. Let's go to then. How hard should I get it for you? Let's go with...
My American history is not very good, so...
It's all right. We won't be too... How many U.S. presidents have been born on the 4th of July?
Wow. Is that including Bruce Springsteen or not?
It's including both Bruce Springsteen and Tom Cruise.
Okay. How many presidents have born on 4th of July? I'm going to go... One seems too obvious, so I'm going to go 3.
Well, you should have gone with the obvious answer because it is 1.
Only one?
It's Calvin Coolidge, one of those U.S. presidents who is very good at turning up on trivia questions.
Yeah.
If we move on then to the next question, the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia is ceremoniously rung.
Wait, real quick. Do you know what Coolidge's slogan was in his presidential campaign? I think he was in the 40s, right? Coolidge?
He was before that, but no, I do not know.
Or 20s, sorry, not 40s, 20s. I meant after World War I. He was.
I do not know what his. Sure. He was president like 23 to 29. So
it was like keep cool and keep Coolidge, something like that. I thought that was like so cool. I remember that because we used to do that. I was in AP history, and you have to remember the presidential slogans. I remember that one was keep cool.
It's a valuable piece of information to learn in a history class. Presidential slogans, teaching you all the right things.
And that's America.
Yeah. So the Liberty Bell in Philadelphia is ceremoniously rung every Independence Day. How many times is it rung?
Ooh. That's a good question. Is there any reason to it? Can I get a hint?
There's a reason to it.
I'm going to go with 4.
And what was your reasoning for 4?
No particular reason. I was thinking maybe the majority of major wars they've won. I don't know.
Okay, interesting. So again, the answer is 13. You could have doubled down on the original colonies theme. Which U.S. president held the first 4th of July event at the White House?
Oh, let's go with Grant.
Well, that's pretty late. It was actually fairly early on. It was Thomas Jefferson. So
Oh, okay.
July 4th, 1801. So the
They
U.S.
dug
was,
into that patriotism early.
they did. And that was just after the White House had become occupied. It had only become occupied in November of that year. So, or November of the previous year, I suppose, November 1800. So they got right to it. How many
What was the
times?
celebration? Does it say?
I
Does
don't
it
have
have
those
kegs?
details.
Kegger?
Yeah, probably. How many times do the words the United States appear in the Declaration of Independence?
I'll go trick answer and say 1.
I guess the trick answer I would have thought would have been 0, but you're still wrong. It's twice. So it appears
Once in the
it,
beginning and once in the end or something.
it appears in the introduction to the text where it says the unanimous declaration of the 13 United States of America.
Oh, I didn't know that part counted.
And you're right, once in the final paragraph where they say, we, therefore, the representatives of the United States of America. But the Second Continental Congress did not formally name what had been called the United Colonies, the United States of America, until September 9th, 1776.
So after.
Yeah. And how many U.S. presidents have died on the 4th of July?
Oh, so this one, I know it's either. Oh, shit. I've heard this before. I'm going to go 2.
You are correct. Both John Adams and Jefferson both died on the 4th of July, and they died on the 4th of July in the same year, in 1826. They died within hours of each other. So both the second and third presidents of the United States died on the 4th of July on the same day of the same year.
I remember hearing that.
I think one was 90 and the other one was 82 or something like that. So there we go. Why don't we end on a positive note there with a correct answer to the question, and you can flip things back on me and throw whatever American themed questions you have for me.
Well, mine's a little easier, I think, for you and sports oriented, but I could make it tricky and say you have to do it in order, but I won't do that. I'm looking for the top 5 most valuable sports teams according to Forbes magazine.
Exclusively American sports teams, you mean?
American sports teams.
Okay, I'll say Yankees are number 1.
Yankees are not number 1.
Okay, but Yankees they are in the top 5.
4.
Okay.
They're top. There's 2 tied for 4th, so let's just say they're 4th.
I'll say the LA Lakers.
LA Lakers are not in the top 5.
Shit. That makes me question whether there's an NBA team in the top 5 then.
Well, I think that should give you your answer.
I mean, I assume it's no, because I would have thought the Lakers are the most valuable NBA franchise. I guess maybe you could argue like potentially the Knicks or something, but I'll say no NBA team then. LA Dodgers.
LA Dodgers are not in the top 5.
Okay. New England Patriots.
The New England Patriots are number 2 on that list at $6.4 billion.
The New York Giants.
The New York Giants are number 5 on that list at $6 billion.
So if we have 2 tied for 4th, does that mean I have to name 6?
No, that was the one tied for 4th, but I'll just say they're 5th. So you have number 2, number 4, and number 5.
I'm going to assume that the remaining ones are just NFL teams. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers are not on the list. Sorry, no one likes Heinz ketchup anymore. Or
LA
ketchup, for that matter.
LA Rams?
The LA Rams are number 3. That was the tricky one, which I'm surprised that you're getting that one before the number 1 answer.
The number 1 answer above.
I mean, on the 4th of July, this is pathetic, Eddie.
The Philadelphia Eagles?
No.
Yeah, I thought that was the 4th of July theme. I thought that's why you...
They are literally America's team, Eddie.
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go.
It's true. It's surprising I didn't think of them. Yankees and Cowboys should have been the go-to thoughts. It's true.
Yeah. The Rams, I think, is very tricky.
That to me is just market size of just being an LA team versus... I don't know how much I trust these valuations, though. They seem way off consistently, in my view. But
well, what's crazy is they were purchased in 2010 for $750 million, and they're now supposedly worth $6.2 billion. So that's quite a nice investment.
Yeah, I mean, because it's always interesting to me, like when you see the global rankings, and they'll say that, you know, sometimes you'll see sort of the Yankees are more valuable than like Real Madrid. It's difficult for me to kind of wrap my head around that in terms of what the global value of the brand is. At the same time, I guess the one benefit to sometimes with American sports is obviously you're dealing with a really small number of available teams to buy. So it kind of inflates. Like if you want to buy an NFL team, it's not like buying a European football team where you maybe have 50, 60 that you could realistically choose from. And you could even get more creative than that if you wanted to. You're really dealing with, you know, across all American sports, 30-ish in each sport.
So I'll give you 2 bonus. What would be the first NBA team to appear on the list?
Is it not the Lakers then, seeing as that was my guess?
The Lakers are number 10, but there is a team at number 8 above them.
It might be the Golden State Warriors, although I'll call bullshit on that, but it might just be that they've, you know, it's just...
It is the Golden State Warriors.
I call it
They are apparently 0.1 billion more than the Lakers.
All right. And what's the other bonus?
What is the first international team on the list, according to Forbes?
I'll say probably Manchester United.
It's not Manchester United.
Oh, boy. That makes it tough. Is it Real Madrid?
Number 19 on the list. Real Madrid at number 13 at 5.1 billion without taxes.
Yeah, I don't know. If you imagine like the trade scenario, who says no? If the owners of Real Madrid called up the owners of the New York Yankees and were like, "Do you want to can we house swap here?" I can't imagine the Yankees being like, "Yeah, no, we're fine with this. We've got the sport that literally no one really cares about that much." And like, I guess the one thing going for the Yankees is the logo. You're getting a lot of revenue off people buying Yankees hats who have no idea who the Yankees are. But
yeah, I mean, the Chicago Bears at number 6.
No way!
Called the Chicago Bears.
No way! If the Glazers, who obviously own Manchester United, if they're and are in the process of trying to sell it, if they were like
called the Kasky family, the owners of
we're
the
like,
Bears.
Do you want to just swap? We'll somehow get rid of our ownership of Tampa Bay, but we'll just take the Bears over, and you can have Manchester United. There's no way the Bears owners say, "No, we're fine. This is going really well for us."
Bears fans.
They might be, but it's just unimaginable. And again, I don't know. I mean, I guess there's revenue figures that they're able to base this on to a certain degree, depending on the sport. Certainly with Manchester United, it's a publicly listed company, so they obviously have a sense of what, how they're performing each year. I don't know how that works for some of these sports teams.
Do you think possibly the no salary cap that you have in European football kind of limits some of the money you can make, whereas with like football, it's a pretty low salary cap compared to European football, and you know that you're making a ton of money?
No, I think that's a fair point. Like the Glazers aren't making money on an annual basis off of owning Manchester United. However, their original investment is now worth several times what it was when they bought the club 20-ish years ago. But yeah, you're right. Like as an NFL owner, you are making money every season,
and you transfer fees.
Yeah, and you are guaranteed to make money every season. So that's a valid point. I don't know how, and I guess true. of the Yankees, I suppose, as well. But I don't know. I wouldn't be in a rush to buy the New York Yankees. I'll say that. If I suddenly have billions to spend on a sports team,
a little different because the Yankees, like, they kind of like transcend baseball, right? Like, I think almost anyone, if they know anything about baseball, it's that the Yankees are a baseball team.
It's true. Now, speaking of America, as our transition maybe away from the quiz questions, I don't know. Have you seen the U.S. women's national team promo for the World Cup that came out on Fox?
Yeah, where they bash every other country.
Yeah, who can beat us? Who can beat us?
Hey, back-to-back champions.
I have never seen, in a world where people love to make fun of England for its coming home chants and song.
Who makes fun of England for that?
To literally release a commercial where you're just like, World Cup's coming up. Can anybody beat us? I don't think so. I cannot imagine as a player. And look, there's not a comparison between England's men's team and the U.S. women's team in terms of success over the last 20, 30 years. So I understand it's not a fair comparison from that perspective. They are a dominant force in women's international football. But I cannot imagine being a player. It's so insightful in terms of their mindset and their images of themselves that they sign off a pre-tournament promo that is literally, nobody can beat us, and they won't be able to unless they cancel our flight or try and steal some of our players or, like cheat, basically. That's the only way anyone can beat us.
Hey, they're back-to-back champs. No team in men's or women's World Cup has ever won 3 in a row.
Yeah. I think it's less of an achievement in the women's game just because of the...
Well, they just haven't been playing as long.
They haven't been playing as long, but also just there's not the same number of developed countries, right? So it's only... The men's game feels like you have to get past sort of more countries effectively. In the women's game, you're dealing with like 3 or 4 who are... really in with a chance, and there's a huge drop off from them to the rest. But yeah, I mean, let's see. I got to admit, in my anti-American take of the day, it makes me really want to watch them lose. Like the internet is kind of undefeated, and I cannot wait to see them lose, which they probably won't. But if they do lose,
they already have excuses. So I already read 2 articles on the Women's World Cup team. And in both articles, they're like, they should win again, but they've got so many injuries and they've got this going on and that going on. And like, so the excuses are already there if they don't win, that it's due to, freak injuries that they have. So their captain is out. And then, who else? One of their other best midfielders is out as well. There's just tore an ACL like a month ago. And then Julie Ertz is back after having a kid like 6 weeks ago. Something. It's not that long, not that soon, but it was like her first competition back since going on leave.
Well, I'm glad they have the excuses ready, but I still will just relish in anything, all the content that comes out if they do lose. And again, I'm not specifically targeting either the women's, because I think there's been an unfair backlash to the backlash of, you wouldn't say this about a men's team. Like some of the responses I saw was, hey, you wouldn't criticize a men's team in this way. And I would 100% criticize any men's sports team in exactly the same way. If the Kansas City Chiefs next year came out with a preseason promo where it's Mahomes and Kelsey saying, who could possibly beat us? And,
I think they've already done that.
Yeah. But, I would be just as critical of them. And the same if the England men's team, for some reason, decided they just all lost their minds, and ahead of the next Euros come out with a video saying who could beat us, I would have exactly the same reaction. So yeah, it's made me, I'll give them credit, it's made me slightly more interested in the Women's World Cup. So mission accomplished, I suppose.
Yeah, gonna be tough for Americans to watch it, but I did see that they made a rule in like a bunch of major cities that the bars can stay open 24 hours so that people can attend to watch the matches.
Great. There's going to be some passionate alcoholics. Like, hey, John, why are you in the bar at 3 a.m? I just love the Women's World Cup. Just love it. Can't miss a match. And it's in Australia, so tough to watch.
Yeah, we will have to see. They have a tough group stage, Netherlands and Portugal. Although the article I read just completely dismissed Portugal, like so bad. Like, they're no good. They could easily beat Portugal. Although Portugal did draw against England, the defending Euro champion. US has no problem against them. It's like so dismissive.
Hey, if you're gonna make the commercial like that,
the commercial.
Exactly. Yeah, they just write all of the previews for the entire tournament. Yeah, speaking then of, I suppose, some slight controversies, maybe it's an opportunity for us to speak. Last episode we spoke about the Ashes mid-second test. We have a chance to quickly speak. England went on to lose that second test, although they kind of found themselves in a position to win it in the fifth day. They were 4 wickets down, needing 70-ish runs. I think it was about 70, 71 runs. I
think you should clarify. I think Ben Stokes found a way to win it.
So I'm going to...
Shoulder.
He did. However, and before we discuss the Johnny Bairstow dismissal, I am going to... This is... If I were on a first take, this is my hot take. I think as wonderful as he was in his 155 or whatever his second inning score was, his dismissal was stupid. And once England, I understand him just kind of swinging for the fences once Bairstow was out, and at that point they needed 150-ish, and it was a thought of, well, he's going to have to score 85% of these runs, and time is his enemy. But once they got down to double digits, and they were then favorites at that point, and there was an easy way to pick up ones and twos and to really try and get that score down to kind of the 30, 40-ish mark, where even if he then got out, they would have really stood a solid chance. I don't know why he continued to play with kind of reckless abandon. And then I'll level the same criticism at Ollie Robinson when he then came in, and the shot that Stuart Broad played for him to get out. And they strung together this 10th wicket partnership that then got them into that 30, 40-ish range with their 2 worst batsmen at the crease. And it proved just how dumb they were to basically throw away 3 wickets for like 3 runs, when if you were in the stage of thinking, we just need each remaining wicket now to be a 15-run partnership and we're winning this match. And again, it's hard to be too critical of Ben Stokes because it was an incredible innings and he did nearly single-handedly carry them to victory. But again, it's the Bazball criticism. It's wonderful, but there are moments when you maybe need to, common sense has to prevail, and you can think, yeah, you know what, we're only 70 runs off this and we have 4 wickets remaining and we can pick up a single pretty much whenever we want. So let's just do that and really put Australia under pressure here.
If this were first take, they'd be on to the next show by now, Eddie. How critical are you, Jesus? No, I agree. I think it was just sloppy. It was a sloppy play by Stokes. But I agree with you. I mean, I think that's what you're going to get. If you're going to get 155 that way, I think you're going to get a sloppy ball like that. And it's tough, I think. It's tough to criticize at the same time because they got to 155 because he was taking risks. And it's hard then, I think, to really say, like, okay, this is the over now where I'm going to start taking less risks, even though me taking these risks got us to a point where I now have to make the decision of when to be less risky starting at like a certain time, So like it's a little difficult, I think, to do, I think, for him probably in the moment, especially. So I can't fully criticize him. I mean, I also think the Bairstow definitely was in his head a little bit. And I think that was fueling him a little bit too, trying to like be hero,
I think certainly in the initial, Bairstow got out and then he sort of exploded in the
Yeah.
subsequent over. That was definitely, and I think that was because he felt as if we've probably lost this now. And so I may as well just go for it and try and swing momentum back in England's way, which he did. And you're right. Look, live by the sword, die by the sword. So, at what moment can you praise his brilliance and then say, oh, that was one delivery too much? But again, for our listeners who don't, follow or really understand cricket, a kind of easy parallel, I suppose, is to be like a NFL comeback going for it on fourth downs. And now you're down by 3 points and you're in field goal range. And instead of just taking the 3 points to tie the game up on fourth and
I don't think it's
six,
that close. Let's say you're down 6.
no, they were favorites at that point. They were betting odds favorites. WinViz, the statistics that they use to calculate favoritism, they were favorites in every. I mean, you got to do it. They needed 70. I think it was 71 runs when he got out. They had 4 wickets remaining. Like, it's very easy because England's tail order is so bad. It's easy to be like, well, Anderson's a walking wicket, so like, what's he going to contribute? But if roles, I mean, we watched Australia do basically the same thing in the first test with 2 wickets remaining, where they managed to just string, it's like, because 70 runs goes to 50 runs really quickly, goes to 30 runs really quickly if you're just picking up 3, 4 and over in these singles. And he got to the thing that I also would say, again, to be slightly critical of him, his not trusting Stuart Broad at first made a lot of sense. But by this point, Stuart Broad had been in for a significant amount of time and didn't really look particularly threatened. So he could realistically entrust Stuart Broad with 2 to 3 balls and over. And Broad would have probably picked up the odd single and done okay. He was going to be seeing the ball at that point as well as he ever is going to at this stage of his career. So, yeah, I mean, I think it was naive, which I think is just the overall assessment of England's test play at the moment.
Yeah, down 0-2.
Yeah, it's pretty much toast. The possibilities of them winning 3 tests in a row, I'd say, it's slim to none. But then that brings us on to the Johnny Bairstow controversy. So, again, kind of difficult one to explain for those not familiar with the sport. But basically, at the end of an over, he sort of completely stopped paying attention and stepped out of his crease. And Alex Carey, the Australian wicketkeeper, instantly threw the ball at the stumps and hit the stumps sort of just after Johnny Bairstow had just stepped out of his crease. From Johnny Bairstow's perspective, he thought it was a dead ball. He thought that the over was finished. The thing that makes him look bad is on the 2 previous deliveries, he'd basically done the same thing. It's just that Alex Carey hadn't shied at the stumps, so it's not as if you could say it was exclusive either to that delivery or to it being the final ball in the over.
And they did say it was definitely premeditated because of that, because they had noticed he was doing that.
Yeah, and look, wicketkeepers try it all the time. Johnny Bairstow tried it in that very test against Marnus Labuschagne. So, and that's where there's a degree of hypocrisy from this England team, I think, is that there's been people calling them hypocrites for a lot of reasons. I think most of them are incorrect. But the only way you can really say they look like hypocrites is that Johnny Bairstow himself attempted pretty much exactly the same thing against Marnus Labuschagne in exactly the same test match. But by every letter of the laws, he was out. But it calls into, talking about the preambles we spoke about in the Declaration of Independence, it calls into this mention in the preambles of the laws of the game, this spirit of cricket, which gets brought up consistently when debating behavior within the game, which is this idea that the kind of good of the sport and sportsmanship is supposed to be an ever-present sort of concept within how you
Which I
conduct
also
yourself.
don't get, though, because with the level of sledging that they do, right? Like,
so this is the tough one.
Is horrific things said to each other.
Yeah, and this is the tough thing, right? There are moments when we sort of invoke this spirit of the game theory, and others we don't. For example, Stuart Broad, who was highly critical of the Australians both post-match and when he came out to bat. I mean, he congratulated, as far as sledging goes, I thought it was actually a pretty good one. He congratulated Alex Carey on this is the thing he was going to be known for. I thought that was a fair assessment. But, Stuart Broad's famous for not walking. and once didn't walk in an Ashes Test match when he had very clearly edged the ball to slip. So, why is that outside the parameters of spirit of the game? I think the only argument you can make is that we have accepted certain types of behavior in terms of not just walking, or I'm not going to say cheating, but kind of bending the rules. And then there are these other areas where we feel like the spirit of the game has to be upheld, and trying to benefit, like the runouts when a player isn't properly running is kind of one of the few remaining sort of bastions of that concept. But again, it's a tricky one. I would have hoped if I were Australian, I would have hoped in the moment for the appeal to be withdrawn, which was the option available to the Australian team, is to withdraw the appeal and to allow Bairstow to remain in. But he was out. I mean, there's no disputing the fact that there's no technicalities there.
Yeah, and I saw there was they were interviewing both former Australian and English cricket players, and both sides argued both sides. It was pretty interesting where, there were some Australian people, exactly like you said, like, I wouldn't have done it, or I would have wished they'd kind of let it go. And then other ones that were like, hey, that's an out. It is what it is. And then the same on the English side, there were like, I would say more English were saying that, like, that's his fault, like, be smart in the game, just like it's a very minor thing. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, just play a little smarter and you're not in that situation.
Oh, it's incredibly dopey. Again, it's one of those things, playing cricket as a kid, it's sort of one of the 5 things you would get told. Don't just wander out of your crease. Like, that would be, every little kid learning to play the game right now is being told exactly that.
It's kind of like, to give an example, I guess, in baseball, is when you were younger and you would get a walk and you'd go to first, and really quickly the pitcher would throw the ball to the first baseman and he would have it there. Whereas then, like, when the guy who was like walking to first, if he stepped off the bag as he was walking, you would like tag him out, kind of like that. And you were taught since you were like 4 years old, like, if you get a walk to first base, walk to first and stand on first. Don't walk off it, because then you could be out, like. It's even more, I think, a little more egregious than that, because it's like that was like a sneak play, whereas this like wasn't sneaky in a sense, like he wasn't like hiding it. But
yeah, there's no trickery involved in this.
Yeah,
but yeah, you're right. It is similar to just dumb awareness or presence on certain pickoffs in baseball. It's like just wandering off your base and not paying attention to where the ball is. It's exactly that. But yeah, there's absolutely no trickery involved on the part of the Australians. But
so my question to you, though, Eddie, is, with that all aside, what was your take on some of the members who were then being pretty aggressive at the Australian players as they were coming in for, that would have been what, lunch?
Yeah.
Or tea?
It was lunch, I think.
Lunch.
Yeah, so I'm not in favor of that. The MCC members are supposed to be, it's such an honor. It takes decades to become, you have to be endorsed by 2 existing members. And obviously you have to wait for people to die, basically, to become an MCC member. And it is supposed to be, the MCC is the organization that sets the rules of the sport, and Lord's is the home of cricket. And there's, you're expecting these to be gentlemanly lovers of the sport. And it's one of the things at times that, for example, walking through the long room, the room in which the players go through, it's a unique experience that you have to enter the field of play through this members pavilion, and that you are within touching distance of spectators. And it's kind of your honor to be amongst them to a certain extent. And for the most part, typically MCC members conduct themselves extremely well, and there's an appreciation of the sport and not just bias for, England. They overstep the mark in terms of the chanting, the cheats, and, to a certain extent, I think Australia slightly deserve it, but they deserve it from the sort of more general public, like when they're out playing. I don't think many of those MCC members would be proud of their behavior. What I will say, again, some people have called England hypocrites for that level of behavior, and then also being critical of Australia for not withdrawing the appeal, they're two completely separate issues. Because one is, how does a select group of spectators carry themselves at a match versus the players on the field and the decision of those players in the moment. And I can be critical of the Australians for not withdrawing an appeal and be critical of the MCC members. One doesn't justify the other in my mind. But yeah, I think I would be, I definitely put it this way. I mean, I have family members who are MCC members. I don't think any of them would have been standing there chanting cheats and kind of gesturing and pointing at the Australians as they tried to make their way through a fairly narrow passage.
Bad look.
Not a great look. And again, it's one of those...
kind of a pathetic look.
It's just people get swept up in a crowd, right? You just have to keep in mind the average age of the people there is probably like 75. And, you know, just...
Which I think makes it way worse.
It does, because it's just these like old guys kind of semi-physically threatening people who would just kill them if they really, you know, if like it got down to it.
Carrying wicket bats.
Yeah, I mean, if it had just, if a full-out brawl had broken out, even though the MCC members significantly outnumbered the Australian cricketers, all of my money would have been on the Australian cricket team to make their way out of the long room. So, you know, again, it's just kind of stupid. But yeah, things are not looking good. There was a lot of confidence, as listeners will have seen from when we had Dan on. You know, I think he was fairly reflective of just overall English confidence coming into this Ashes series, that England were riding a wave of the last 12 months and that Bazball had kind of broken Test cricket and that they were just going to blow the Australians away. And in the end, they've lost two tight 5-day tests, which is kind of not what would have been expected coming into the series, I suppose, then just given the nature of the defeat, let alone the defeats. But it is an absolute mountain to climb at this stage, and I just cannot see them doing it.
Yeah. So, I want to ask your opinion. I've been getting a lot of Instagram, like random posts on...
No, I do not think Idris Elba will be the next James Bond.
No, that's Facebook. That's selective to Facebook. I saw a new one the other day. The odds are shifting again. Tom Hardy's back in the mix for a 14th straight time.
These odds that only exist in your universe and the people who heavily target you. But yes, go on then. What has Instagram been throwing at you?
The potential for FIFA to approve the new offside rule. And I don't know if this is true or not true, because it's really hard to figure out sometimes if it's a legitimate Instagram site or not. And the new rule that they are saying that they might test is that the entire body has to be offside for it to be offside. And that's the who's implementing that?
Arsene Wenger has been the big proponent of this rule change.
And they said they might test it out in matches coming up.
Yeah, no, I'm in favor of it. You know, there's a.
Does that not completely change the game?
Not really, because I mean, here's the thing: is we all grew up with this idea that there had to be daylight between defender and attacker, which has never been the rule. It was just guidance that was given to the touch judges, linesmen, lineswomen, linespeople, to help them to better assess if someone was offside, so that you needed to see sort of clear evidence, that clear gap between the attacker and the defender. And to a certain extent, whilst that daylight concept has never been officially part of the rule, it seemed the sort of sensible interpretation of the law. And this would just be truly putting that into place. And to me, it just makes more sense than the idea of your big toe is like slightly longer than the defender's big toe, and so you're offside when you weren't gaining any tactical advantage by, you know, that minuscule sort of element. Ultimately, the controversial decisions will boil down to the same thing, which is analyzing to the nearest pixel and saying, oh, here the back of his foot is just in line, and this time around there is a slight gap between the back of his foot and the front of his foot. So we're kind of just shifting the goalposts, but remaining in the same discussion. But I do think overall it's a more understandable and relatable rule.
Yeah, but they always have to put in these stipulations that will make it tricky. Because I think I had seen the stipulation was just some part of a body that's able to play the ball has to be behind the defender. So there will, for certain, be a situation where like someone's arm is behind, and they're going to argue like at what point does it become an arm versus like the shoulder? And I can see this already happening.
Well, that's the same now. Like your hand can be in front of a defender. You can't be offside through your hand. So it's the same now. They do that analysis of body parts which you can legally use to touch the ball.
But I think it's a little more controversial going the other way.
I suppose. Like, to me, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, right? Like right
you
now,
you can like lean as you're like running and like lean and put it in. And still be onside.
Not really. What you're advocating, for listeners who are unclear, Frank is arguing that you could kind of run leaning backwards.
Right? Yeah.
No, I don't think
with a tilt to your side.
I think you might be losing out in other ways for whatever small gains you get from sort of maintaining an onside.
Is it any weirder than how Sterling runs?
Well, he might. Yeah, exactly. He might be. But no, I think, again, I just think you're never going to eliminate all of the debate. And ultimately, I mean, it just needs to be clear because, VAR as it's currently used, certainly in the Premier League, is just a mess. It's supposed to be there to remove the clear and obvious mistakes, and instead it seems to be impacting sort of every area of the game in pretty much every match. And you don't know if when a goal is scored, if you can properly celebrate and stuff. And this would at least, I guess if you were trying to defend this rule the most, if you were watching a match live, you would have a much better sense of whether a player was potentially offside because you would know, he was really in front there. And so it would be much more, let's go back and look at this replay to see if he is onside. Versus in the current situation, you watch a match live and you think, oh yeah, he was onside there. And then we sort of analyze the millimeters and find a small part of his body was slightly in front, and so he's offside. So I guess it would be a much more natural viewing experience. You'd have a better sense in real time as to whether or not a goal was possibly going to be ruled out, which is a major improvement to me because there's nothing more frustrating than 5 minutes after a goal was scored, again, going through pixel by pixel analysis, you figure out like, Erling Haaland, his knee was just fractionally in front of the defender, so no goal, even though he scored it with his head, no goal.
Yeah. And for those who are interested, Aaron Taylor-Johnson is the current 2-1 favorite to be the next James Bond, while Henry Cavill, or Cavill, however you want to say it, is 4-1 next favorite.
Who's the favorite?
Aaron Taylor-Johnson.
Who is that?
He's been favorite for a while. He was most recently in Bullet Train. He was one of the brothers. If you ever see the movie Bullet Train, there's like the two brothers in it. He's one of the brothers. He's in Tenet. He got famous with the movie Nocturnal Animals. I think it's the famous one that he got like super popular from. It's kind of an outsider, but he's like right in that age range.
He's 33.
That's why.
Yeah, I mean, most of the people they're throwing out there are just too old.
Yeah.
I mean, Idris Elba's what, mid-50s?
Idris Elba is even on the board.
Tom Hardy.
9-1, Tom Hardy.
Tom Hardy must be in his 40s, I suppose.
Idris Elba is 16-1. He ain't getting it.
Tom Hardy is 40. Tom Hardy's 45.
Yeah, he's too old.
So imagine realistically he'd have to be like 50 by the time a movie was actually coming out. Which again, I mean that's Daniel Craig age now, but you would
they don't want to do that.
Well, no, you just think if you're starting the franchise with a new person, then you don't.
Listen, Eddie, I've had all the insider info on this.
No, you've had none of the
insider. They wanted to go back. They said when they got Daniel Craig, they said he was actually older than they wanted, and they don't want to do that again. So they want to go even earlier, like even younger this time.
Oh, let's go pre-pubescent James Bond. That's what I want to
They
see.
want to go 13-year-old James Bond.
Nice. Make all of the like sex scenes and flirting scenes really uncomfortable for the audience. That's what I want. All right. What is next on the agenda?
There was a perfect game in baseball. Did you see that? Domingo German
for the famed, incredibly valuable New York Yankees. I did see that.
Yep. First since, do you know when the last one was?
I think it was like 2012, something like that. I remember.
2012, Felix Hernandez of the Mariners.
Yeah. If I cared more, I mean, it would obviously be very cool to witness in person. It would be up there, like going back to, I guess, our sort of cricket experience at the Oval in the Surrey match. Witnessing a perfect game, whilst kind of dull for the first 6 or 7 innings, like it only becomes interesting when you get close to the idea of the perfect game being completed, which is the tough element of it. Is like most of the time it's just going to fall apart with like because even a no-hitter doesn't excite me that much. So just a walk in like the 8th inning would be like, oh, fuck all of that for this. But
there's been 24 perfect games and there's been 319 no-hitters. So
yeah, it gets us back into the realm. I know it's a topic that we've sort of discussed at different moments in time, but like the which thing is harder discussion. Like where does perfect game rank in the difficult to achieve sporting accomplishments?
Well, I'm so glad you brought this up because I have, at least for baseball, the list of 9 things in baseball that are more rare than the perfect game, which has only happened 24 times.
Okay.
At number 1 on the list, it's only happened once, and that was, I believe, Fernando Tatis. Do you want to take a guess what it is?
I suppose it's home run related.
It is home run and hitting related.
Multiple, like consecutive 3 home runs in a row or something like that.
2 grand slams in 1 inning, in the same inning. So a player hitting 2 grand slams in the same inning has only happened once in baseball.
Whilst that's obviously rarer, it's not as impressive of an achievement because so much of that is situational, right? You just need to be put, like, it's an incredible team achievement, I suppose, because you are just getting people on base. So you're just dominating an inning, but like you're too reliant on other factors to put yourself in a position to achieve that.
Yeah. And then just having 2 grand slams in an entire game has only happened 13 times. So that in itself is pretty rare. I will give you one, Eddie, that I think you'll like, which you kind of just hit on. The perfect game lost on the 27th batter. So the last batter of the game, you lose your perfect game, has happened 13 times. So perfect game 24 times, and 13 times someone has gotten to the last batter and lost the perfect game. Would you rather be in the more rare company of having lost it or the slightly less rare company of having gotten it?
So I mean, ultimately, I know, and we've discussed this before, right? I would rather have the Galarraga non-perfect perfect game than any other perfect game because I think you're way more memorable because of the botched final out call. That's kind of the dream scenario, and then getting the next hitter out. Like that really plays into it. You're like a perfect game plus 1 out, which makes you unique. So I guess the thing is you kind of get to dine out on the blown perfect game more. Like that
I was going to say, yeah. I think it depends on who you are. If you're a Hall of Famer, I think you want the perfect game because it goes in on your resume and you can say, like, oh, and including 2 Cy Youngs, you also had a perfect game. But I think if you're a guy who played 2 years in the major leagues and you have the ultimate story, like, oh, you played in the majors? Yeah. Not only did I play in the majors, I had a perfect game going on until the last batter and I lost it. And the whole bar is like, oh, tell us the story,
And I guess it also then depends, how did you blow the perfect game? Because if you blow it with a walk, then no, I don't want that. If it's, you do want the mildly controversial like the close call or something that you think maybe could have been put down as an error but wasn't. Like that's what you'd sort of want, so you could really discuss it in detail versus what happened. I just walked the guy. I threw 4 balls in a row. Like it was over. Like I got too nervous. The question would be for us. Let's say we had a guest on, we have a pitcher on. Which do we think we discuss in more detail? The perfect game, you'd obviously just have to discuss like the mindset down the stretch. Like, when did you realize you had a realistic chance? When did you start thinking about it? How did you deal with the kind of nerves of it? But then you could kind of say
I
the same.
think I know, but I think you gotta have to discuss the perfect game more because you kind of feel bad discussing the guy who lost the perfect game.
Sure,
you don't
and
want
again,
to keep bringing that up.
but again, you're right. It depends on what his career was. If it's like Clayton Kershaw sitting with us and he has a perfect game blown in the final out, he can probably pretty happily discuss that because his career resume is such that. But yeah, if you're the guy who like, hey, I was a September call up, I had 5 starts. One of them was a perfect, like I nearly had the perfect game, and then I never made it back to the majors. That was it. That was my goodbye to the big leagues. Then that would be a tough one to discuss. But I mean, here's a question. Let me flip the question for you to a certain degree. At what point, if you were a pitcher, would you start seriously thinking about the fact that you had a perfect game going? Like, what inning do you switch from, hey, I'm off to a good start, to, wow, I've got a perfect game in play here?
7.
7? I think that's late.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Because that's when you start getting tired too. So you probably feel like, I would say most pitchers, their mindset has to be, I can be dominant for 6 innings. And then once like you get to that and you're like, wow, I'm being super dominant. And then you get into that 7th and you're like, I still feel good. They haven't gotten a hit yet. I think you start thinking about it.
I think I would start to think about it at least a little bit. Like, it would be a thought in my mind once I'd completed the 5th inning. Like the start of the 6th, if I've got a perfect game in play, I think I start to think I'm over halfway. I've got 4 innings here to go. I'm 12 outs away. Because that at the moment where I'd be like, I think I can get 12 outs. Like, it starts to sound doable. Because you'd probably run through your mind and be like, there's plenty of times in my career where I've had 12 consecutive outs. Like, that's not that crazy. So I think it would be once I completed the 5th that I would really start to. I mean, that's when you start. That's when, because like if you're going from like the Sports Center, ESPN, when do they switch to like the perfect game watch? You're right. It's usually.
I was usually not until like in the
7th-ish.
8th usually. Yeah.
But you do, when you're watching a game live, I feel like it starts being discussed by like commentators around the 5th. And that's when you start to see the like, nobody talk to the pitcher. Like, he's going back to the dugout. Nobody talk to him. Stay away from him. Like, everybody better stand in the same place. Like, that's when that zone starts.
Yeah. I mean, what's crazy too is, I'm sure you've probably seen this, but for listeners who haven't, Domingo German, who had the perfect game, the game before, he pitched 3 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs. And then the game after, he pitched 4 innings, 9 hits, 3 runs. So that's just what's crazy about baseball.
No, yeah, and this is ultimately when you get back to the like, where does the perfect game rank in terms of achievement? Like, it's a tough one because obviously you need a good pitching performance because you can't walk anyone, so you need control. But you could just kind of achieve it through terrible hitting. Like, guys just, especially nowadays, just guys swing at every pitch. And I mean, not that it's happening every week, but it kind of does, in my mind, make it less cool of an achievement because it just feels like ineptitude on the part of your opponents could allow you to get there. Whereas there's some other, like, I would rather hit for the cycle in the majors than have a perfect game. Probably. Like, I think that's actually like a more impressive achievement. There's still randomness there in terms of needing to get the double, needing to get the triple. But
what's happened more, Eddie? No hitters or hit for the cycle?
Oh boy. What did you say no hitters were at again?
319.
I'd say there's fewer hit for the cycle than that.
Slightly more, 343. We're very close.
All right. We got to get those no hitters going so that I'm right. But yeah, I think, I'll put it this way. Definitely, I would rather hit for the cycle than have a no hitter.
What's more impressive? Because here's another one that's pretty similar. 4 home runs in a game or a perfect game pitching?
Here's the weird thing. I would rather hit for the cycle than hit 4 home runs.
Stupid.
It's stupid, but it's true though. It's true.
That's stupid.
It's true. Even if I think of our totally
Chicks dig the long ball, Eddie.
Even
chicks don't dig a fucking slide and double.
Chicks dig the cycle. We can say that for sure. But for our listeners who are unaware of what the cycle is, just because we mentioned it, it is hitting a single, so getting to first base on one hit, and not in this precise order, but in any combination, hitting a double, so having a hit that gets you to second, hitting a triple, having a hit that gets you to third, and hitting a home run. So kind of having all of the possible good outcomes, I suppose, minus a walk. I just think I would rather. I'll say this. This is just as much. I would when our fast pitch softball season kicks up again in September, I would be far more likely to bring up the fact that I'd hit for the cycle on here than if I'd hit 4 home runs.
Yeah, because there's no way you're going to be able to hit 4 home runs because you can barely hit a home run to begin with. So
no, my biggest no. Of all of the things,
triple's the hardest.
The triple is the
sure.
I mean, the triple just in any way in a like softball size situation, like a triple is really weird,
especially without it being ruled from an error.
Yes, like it's hard to imagine really how you hit a triple without, again, yeah, you're right, without someone messing up from the like defensive standpoint. The triple is the thing. I would just be weird. Oh man, I hit a triple that game. That would be strange to me.
Yeah, that would be stranger. How about the immaculate inning, Eddie? That's happened 114 times. That is when a pitcher strikes out the entire side from 3 straight pitches each. So, yeah, so 9 strikes.
Nine strikes in a row. It's cool, but that to me is more like just weird. Oh wow, that was only 9 strikes. I'm not bragging about that one. Even if I'm a pitcher, that's sort of just, hey, that was, because it's weird to me to think they make a bigger deal out of an immaculate inning than they would just throwing 3 pitches and like 3 ground outs. But they'll be like, oh wow, immaculate inning. It's like, is that a better achievement than only throwing 3 pitches? Like, isn't, they don't really sort of, you get the name for the accomplishment that you don't get for, wow, you just 3 pitches, 3 ground outs. Like, perfect pitching.
Yeah.
I have one final sports topic if you don't have one.
Okay, go for it.
So I don't know if you saw, there's been a lot of discussion this year. Obviously, Frankie Dettori, who announced his retirement coming into this season, has had a pretty spectacular, what looks to be his final season. And there is a lot of discussion about should he retire, shouldn't he? And I think there's a lot of people who think maybe he'll change his mind. Clear evidence that perhaps he is not changing his mind is the fact that his Newmarket home is going up for rent. It's a pretty spectacular house. He's basically said he doesn't need to live in Newmarket anymore. He can move to London, travel more. That's sort of part of the reason why he's retiring. So he doesn't need to live right there, because obviously the only real motivation for living in Newmarket is the ease of access to all of the facilities that he needs. It's a pretty spectacular house. It will be available to rent for £15,000 a month. It is pretty special looking, but as part of this downside,
$500 a day, not terrible.
We should consider it for Ascot next year. We'll put it on. It is, it's got a home cinema. It's got stables, because we would need those in preparation for, we can ride our horses directly to Royal Ascot, arrive in grand style. There's a heated outdoor swimming pool, which they're making a big deal of the heated element, which, I mean, obviously not all pools are heated, but if you're going to have an outdoor pool in England, I feel like it kind of has to be heated. Otherwise, you're using that like 3 weeks of the year. But yeah, it's a pretty spectacular. It's got 5 acres of land. Yeah, it's pretty special. But on top of this downsizing, he is also putting a lot of, I'll say, somewhat meaningless prizes he's won up for auction. There's quite a lot of things. And I'm just going to say ahead of time here, I'm going to try and nab you some kind of Frankie Dettori related memorabilia in this auction. Because there's crap up for sale that you would only like if someone sees it in your house and you don't know who Frankie Dettori is. It's completely impossible to explain why you've bought it. But I get it.
Like what?
So, for example, there's a lot of just like plates and small trophies. For example, he has a BBC Look East Sports Award trophy. It's a very small cup. You know, it's like for a prize that I don't think many people even know, but it's basically all of the races that are still sort of cool, but he doesn't really care about. You know, all the like plates and vases and small trophies.
Is there
that
a
the jockeys
2000
are
Guineas award there?
No,
I'll
that's
definitely
too.
take that. That's my favorite race.
No. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
Oh, okay.
There's some.
Oh wait, am I gonna get like the Happy Birthday Uncle Bob's 60th running of the Newmarket Handicap Special presented by Bet365?
So you could have the DFS Champagne Stakes at Doncaster. That one is available. There are a few, I will say. So yeah, you could have the Betfred Oaks. You could have the Oaks signed trophy, the trophy that he won. I'm not sure which year this is, but
that's not with
there are some
Enable, is it? No, that's probably gotta be expensive.
But there are some. There's some like cool ones. There's like ones. There's the Criterium from Longchamp up for grabs. There's the Baccarat Longines World's Best Jockey glass vase. The opening bid on all of these things is £50. So I'm just interested to see like how high these things go. If they stay within the realms of reasonableness, then I will definitely be grabbing you something. And it might be, I won't buy you the absolute shittest things because some of them like books. And I'm not buying you just like, this is a book that Frankie Dettori owned because I don't see like that's just dull as anything. But any of the like trophies, vases, plates, there's a bronze model of a horse that he rode, for example. There's some pictures, signed pictures. I don't think those aren't that interesting because I feel like you could just get those for less money, like a signed Dettori.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna pay 10 times as much for the signed Dettori photo that Dettori owned versus here's just exactly the same signed photo that Dettori had nothing to do with apart from when he scribbled on it. So yeah, something to, and I'll even say this: if something else is going really, really cheaply, maybe we put it up for a listener prize. If we can, nab something for a very reasonable price.
I'll tell you what, I'm more interested in renting out his house. It's a 7-bedroom.
Wow, we've got
for 500 a night. It's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming he won't do it that way, right? I'm guessing he's looking exclusively. I don't think it's going to be on Airbnb. I think this is going to be long-term rental.
But maybe we.
But I will say, we'll send him a message.
Okay.
First, you have to convince our friend Furlong to switch his wedding from Windsor Racecourse to Newmarket, and then rent Dettori's house as the home base throughout the wedding itself. And then it's a perfect plan.
And we can do the race on the Newmarket track, on the straight track.
To be perfectly honest with you, his house is big enough. You could just have the wedding at the house.
It's true.
Like that's
pool.
That's like a wedding. Yeah, he's got everything. It's assuming you did it when the weather was nice, obviously, with all that land, and you could easily have a wedding there, and it would not look out of place. So Maybe that's what we try and convince him to do. Could he be the first person? And then everyone, the like wedding gift is just Dottore memorabilia.
Wait. What do you mean wedding gift? Is what
like
him or what he's giving like people?
Both.
Like at your table,
Both.
like the favor, yeah, like the party favor.
The party favor, everyone's getting like some like obscure Dottore trophy he didn't want. But then in return, all of his wedding presents are the more desirable Dottore related memorabilia.
Do you think we can get Frankie there and he can do a flying dismount off some random horse as he comes in?
Yes.
Hey!
That's how
and then he officiates.
Yeah, exactly. That's how and that's how you, that's when you know the marriage is official. As soon as he does his flying dismount. So yeah, that's it for me from a sporting perspective. I don't know if you had anything else left to discuss.
No, I finished The Bear. Let me say, best show on TV. Highly recommend to everyone. We'll get Bill Simmons on. We can talk about it.
Yeah.
I then started. Go ahead.
I'm going to shit on Bill Simmons for a second, just because he had David Chang on his podcast recently, and they were discussing The Bear as part of that conversation. And then we're also just discussing the restaurant industry and food trends as a whole. It's a topic that they like to have pop up like every 6 months or so. And it's not really that interesting when it's coming up as frequently as it is. From like Bill Simmons knows absolutely nothing about food. Like the guy has a palate of like a 3-year-old. So it's not like
shots fired.
He's just a rich guy.
Come on, Bill, and defend yourself. Defend your palate, Bill.
All he's got is he just got rich guy. But the two of them had the biggest like rich guy take. Considering the current economic climate, it was people are just spending crazy amounts at restaurants these days. It was like I've never listened to a more out of touch discussion. Like for 99% of the people who are listening to the Bill Simmons podcast of just, man, everyone I know going to restaurants, they're just buying, these super expensive bottles of wine, and they're not thinking about what their bill's going to be. And it's just crazy these days. Just people just throwing so much cash at their nights out now.
That's pretty good.
So yeah, there's I don't think I've bashed Bill Simmons in at least 12 months. There's my mini Bill Simmons bash.
Nice. I actually then though moved on, Eddie, to watching the train wreck that is The Idol. And that is the Lily Rose Depp and The Weeknd show on HBO. And I have, me, I listen to a lot of Ringer-related TV and movie podcasts, and they've all bashed it and said it's not good. And I had to see how bad it is. And it is a fucking train wreck of a show.
So I have no interest in watching it. However, in my YouTube clip rabbit holes, I did see one clip from the show, which is when...
Don't spoil, because I've only seen, I think, 3 episodes so far.
I don't think it's a particularly significant plot point, but it's when she is being like groped by... I guess it's their chef or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Who's like complimenting her physique and fitness. And then it just descends into some of the worst acting I've ever seen. Like just a scenario that makes absolutely no sense, where he then like slaps the guy, calls him out for being inappropriate, which, I mean, it's so over the top inappropriate that it's hard to imagine anyone being like, oh no, I'm just being normal. Like, of course, I was just like grabbing her stomach and complimenting on how flat her belly was. Like that's what I do.
Well, but his comment, I don't know if you saw, but his rebuttal is, it's okay. Both my parents are gastroenterologists.
Yeah. And then
I don't know what that's got to do with your abdominal muscles. Like, he's not like feeling up her colon.
Maybe he was. He was getting deep. But... And yeah, then the weekends come back to that with like my sister's a gynecologist or something along those lines.
No. His is worse though, because then he's like, "I have a friend who's a
Oh.
gynecologist. You don't see me sticking fingers on people." This is so stupid. It
But yeah.
is. It is. And then I think the worst part of that scene, though, is the fact that this jacked up chef is going to let a 5'4" Weeknd slap him in the face with a rat tail.
Yeah, and it's like it's a slap out of a movie, as if like when people, sort of like old sort of, set in like period pieces, when someone's like defending a woman's honor and like slaps, like takes off their glove and slaps a man
Yeah.
across the face. It's that level of slap. Like, the only thing, I guess, if you were going to say defending it in terms of realism, if that happened to you, you would be so stunned by just
Yeah.
he's kind of assaulted me, but he's not really there. So like, I don't know what an appropriate response or proportional response is to this complete lack of a physical threat, where this guy is like bitch slapped me, but really not hurt or stunned me in the process. But yeah, it doesn't look good. I don't know
It.
why. We just need to get rid of the idea that like talented people can kind of just then do whatever they want. Like, I don't know what about has made us think that The Weeknd could transition into being an actor.
It. I think this is going to hurt his career, to be honest, because it is. He is just awful on every level. Like the character he's playing in itself is just dumb and stupid, but then him acting as this character is it's like a third grader's acting. It's brutal. It's a train wreck to watch. It's almost enjoyable to watch because every time he's on screen, you're like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." Like, what stupid thing is he gonna say? That because I think part of the issue was this show has gone through like a whole different. They had a director and then they fired the director like halfway through the season, and I think he's gotten more involved. So I think a lot of what's going on is things that he's like, it'd be so dope, man, if we did this and I said this. Oh my god! And then like I think they're letting him do it, and it is not working. Oh god! But the whole premise is real quick. The whole premise is that she meets this guy at a club and then like instantly falls for his like charm and charisma. He does nothing in the show to like justify this fame. Like it would be like Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears level fame. That's what she's supposed to be. Falling for a not very attractive guy with a rat tail, a terrible rat tail in a club who says maybe 12 words to her. And she's like completely head over heels for this guy. And then after 4 days, they hang out and he goes, "You know what? I should produce your songs." And then she's like, "Yeah, it's a good idea." And then he waits like 10 seconds. He goes, "It'd be easier if I just lived with you."
I mean, what a power move.
It's so good.
I'm going to try and get Vasilis to employ that line. It's just part of his repertoire now. Like, oh, I could help you. I could help you get a career in that, but it would be easier if I just lived with you. That's
yeah. Oh, it was so good. And then he just moves in. Him and his like entourage move into her home, and no one says. She has like 6 managers, and no one says a word.
And is he's famous, I suppose. Like, how in a level of
In the
fame?
show?
Yeah, like she's
No, no, no,
significantly
no.
more. He's a nobody.
He runs a nightclub. And like the thing is, like the mystery is you don't really know anything about him. No one knows he doesn't exist. Like no one knows anything about him, and he just runs a nightclub. Yeah, he has no music like experience or anything like that.
Okay, so it's just completely batshit.
It is batshit.
Nice.
It's great.
But I do agree with you. It could, because this could be the thing he's sort of more well known for.
Yeah.
Especially because it's been a while since he's had a hit musically. So it's not like he's riding a wave of great musical success. So it's like, oh, remember like The Weeknd? He had a couple big albums and he performed at the Super Bowl, and now he's just a really bad actor. Like that becomes his description.
Oh, I could talk all like I kind of wish you would watch it just because it's so bad. Like we can't even really discuss the one thing that's also very funny because it's just so like disturbing. But it's great.
Well, maybe if I get bored enough, I will watch an episode just so that we can collectively laugh at how bad a show it is. But I feel like too many of our recommendations to listeners or our discussions about TV shows is us not enjoying them. So maybe that would be a little too
I don't think anyone thought this was good.
I'm guessing he did.
I just gotta do one more because it's so good because it might make you laugh. So they go to I think it's like Valentino or like a very expensive store in LA to go shopping, right? And so they drive up and there's just like 100 people just randomly out there, which I guess could be conceivable because, you know, like people like to go and like look, and they go crazy when they see her. And they see her with this guy that no one knows with a rat tail again. And they go into the store and he's being like really weird in the store. Like he's like kind of yelling at the male person who's helping because he's like staring. He's like, if you stare at her again, I'll fucking drag you out of this store and I'll curb stomp you in front of everyone. Just like over the top. Like so over the top. But then eventually they get into a dressing room and they start having sex in the dressing room. But then she stops him. And he's like, what am I supposed to do now? And she's like, you'll figure it out. And the next scene is him just jacking off in the corner of a fitting room. And everyone in the store can hear. It's so good. It's like you know when you return clothes and they have that little rack that they can move around and you like can put the you can hang them up. He's like holding onto the rack. It's so good.
And for her, is this he figured it out, or has he completely misread the situation?
No, she finds it hot.
Okay, so he figured it out.
But she's like in the store and he's still in the fitting room and she can hear him. And he's like, ah, ah! And he like knocks over the fitting rack.
Oh dear. Okay, I might have to watch it. That's at least YouTube clip worthy.
Is YouTube allowed to show that kind of stuff?
Maybe. We'll find out.
It's insane.
Oh dear.
Oh, that's all I've got.
I wanted one note to end on. All right.
I guess I'll talk to you later.
See ya.
Cheerio.